Earlier today, I spoke with Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey about what happened today, and here's part of that conversation. It's great to have you here, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks for having me.
For people in your city, in the Twin Cities, and watching from around the nation and the world, when we saw Tom Homan come out today and make his announcement about a drawdown and end to the operation, I think people had mixed feelings, which is this for real? Is it a head fake? You'd be in the best position to know. What do you think?
I think you're right to have mixed feelings because there's multiple truths that you can hold in your heart here at the same time. On the one hand, it is a great relief, and the people that deserve the credit are the residents of Minneapolis. It's the 435,000 people. It's the tens of thousands of people that have been protesting peacefully in the streets, that have been standing up for their neighbors, getting groceries to people that are terrified to go outside. And I'm sure there's going to be relief because undoubtedly this has caused great destruction and catastrophe in our city. 2 people tragically got killed. And in addition to that, we've had small local businesses that have shut down. They're losing between $10 and $20 million collectively every single week. And while this will be a road back, what I can tell you is that our city is going to show the same kind of resilience and grit that you've seen these last couple of months during this Operation Metro Surge.
So that, just to clarify here, so the last time he came out and said, you know, we're drawing down some forces, and I had been in Minneapolis and I was in contact with a lot of people there after I left. And what I heard from them is not a lot has changed on the ground, even if a few hundred went home. What it sounds like your understanding is this really is the end of this era of this ostensible federal occupation of your city.
That is our understanding. That is our hope. And again, we are going to believe it when we see it. The hope is that you're going to have a huge reduction in the numbers of federal agents in the immediacy, and then also next week, drawing down not entirely, but at the very least to the numbers that we saw before Operation Metro Surge. During Operation Metro Surge, we had between 3,000 and 4,000 federal agents that were on our streets, and that compares to about 600 cops in total that we have in our city. I mean, at any given time, we might have 30 cops out on the street, like in the whole city. Meanwhile, you have thousands of federal agents. And so the massive imbalance was felt on the street. The unconstitutional way that they were conducting themselves, obviously, was felt throughout our city. And having them leave will be, in part, an antidote to get chaos away and to create safety and then ultimately prosperity, which is what we need to get back to.
There were some intimations made by Mr. Homan that there was some agreements reached. You know, there's been this sort of, I'm a little skeptical of its authenticity, but I'll just say it, that, you know, all we want is for you to turn over the hardened criminals and let us cooperate with you in the jails, and we won't have to go around crashing into people's cars and dragging them out of their homes. Was there some agreement reached here that led to the end of this?
Our position has remained the same throughout, and I've been saying this for months, if not years, which is this. We will work with the federal government to catch murderers and rapists and people that are causing danger in our city. We will work extensively with the DEA and the ATF and the FBI to put people like that behind bars. We will not, however, cooperate on enforcing federal immigration policy, period. That was our position then. That is our position now. I had 2 productive, if not 3 productive meetings with the border czar, Tom Homan. You know, obviously, there's progress in that they are leaving right now, but as far as some deal that was struck to get them out, the answer is no. I think what you saw is you saw a federal government and an administration that thought that they were going to break the people of Minneapolis down. They thought that we were going to back down and sort of kowtow to whatever it is that they were looking to get done, not just locally in Minneapolis, but nationwide. They were looking to implement a national agenda based on coercing us to change local policy. And here's the thing. We didn't. The people of Minneapolis stood up. They stood up for their neighbors. They loved on each other. And I think that's the kind of patriotism that is ultimately going to get us through this.
There's an enormous amount of damage. Havoc that's been wreaked on your city. There's 2 people who are dead, others who've been shot. There's car accidents. There's people who've foregone chronic care. I've talked to healthcare providers who have been assisting in home births to pregnant women that are afraid to go to the hospital. There are kids that have missed school for 10 weeks and they've been homeschooling. There's people that have missed work. There's people who got beaten up. There's people who got tear gassed, who got, you know, what does accountability look like? I think a lot of people are watching this and thinking, well, okay, good if they go, but boy, what happens now?
They're right to seek accountability. Accountability needs to come through the justice system that we have in place. We have preemptive lawsuits that have been filed, responsive lawsuits that have been filed, lawsuits that have been filed on behalf of the hundreds, if not thousands, of people that have had their constitutional rights stripped away from them. And so, yes, of course, we want to see accountability in our city for the people who have been harmed. And importantly, we don't want Minneapolis just to be a stop along the route to the next location that has this extraordinary invasion that comes into their city and damages the economy, hurts the morale and the public welfare. And so, you know, it's my goal, it's our goal right now to say that Minneapolis stopped this from happening again. We stood up for the endurance of our republic. And, you know, it's my hope that that's the direction we're going because, you know, God knows this did not go well for them.
Your office, among other offices, were subpoenaed by the by the Justice Department in the course of what they say is a criminal investigation. Many people saw that as obviously pretextual, as a form of intimidation. Would you have any updates on the status of said investigation?
I don't. What I will say is never in a million years would I think that a great American city, the city that I love in Minneapolis, would be invaded by our own federal government. Never in a million years would I thought I would see constitutional rights stripped away. And I certainly never thought that I was going to get investigated by the Department of Justice, a department that, at least historically, I have had great respect for under both Republican and Democratic administrations. But here's the thing. It's not about having committed a crime or something. It is about intimidation. It is about bullying people and communities to get them to back down. Here's the thing. In Minneapolis, we're not going to be intimidated. I'm not going to be intimidated. We're going to stand up for our neighbors. And thankfully, not because of me, but because of the tens of thousands of people that have been standing up for our collective family, I think they're the big reason, ultimately, that they decided to shift bases here and end Operation Metro Surge.